Hello guys, how you doing? My name's Hannah Bennyhood. I am an artist and architect living and working right here in glorious North London, Tottenham. On this channel I talk all things public art and business, bit of architecture, bits and bobs. If that's your jam, please subscribe. And also, why don't you like this video? Just do it, a little cheeky thumbs up. And I know you're thinking, but Hannah, I've not even watched the video. How do I know if I like it? Do you know what? Sometimes in life you've got to take risks, right? So let's do it together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, like. I'm on the way to the studio. It's Jubilee weekend. The sun is out. Honey is with me. Oh God, she's just about to wee on camera. Honey! Anyway, let's do this, shall we? I'm looking like Pebbles right now, aren't I? Am I giving Pebbles energy? I mean, I'm okay with it. She's an absolute icon. Do I put some concealer on? I really can't be bothered. Today I'm going to talk to you all about how I transitioned my career from an architect to an artist and give you a couple of tips. Maybe that will help you if you're thinking of doing something similar. Step 1. Don't make any money. When I first started doing this, I had qualified as an architect in 2014. Once I had finally qualified as an architect, I celebrated for a week and then I was a bit like, well, now what? So, you know, as similar to most people, I just started climbing that career ladder. And on the side of working full-time as an architect, I just made art for fun. It was just a total creative outlet for me, something that really fed my soul, especially when I was doing bin calculations and parking schedules and really contemplating why I spent so many years studying for this. I was mostly gifting things to friends and family. I sold bits and bobs, but I wasn't really doing it for the money. I was just doing it for the absolute love of it. And the reason why I count this as step 1 is because if you aren't willing to do this creative work for free, I don't know if you're going to be successful doing it as a career, because it is so difficult and it takes a long time and a lot of graft. So you have to absolutely love it. And a good way of finding out if you love something is, are you willing to do it for free? So step 2 is about using what you've already got. As much as I was kind of loving making things in frames and I enjoyed that process, I knew I was I want to do something bigger. I started sort of looking around, who do I know? What can I do here? One of my friends was running a pub at the time. I reached out to her and asked her, would she mind if I would do an installation? She said yes. She gave me £50 for materials, and when I tell you, I worked on that project for about 3 months. I was so excited about it. I created my first ever installation. It was called A Couple of Lovebirds. It was made out of 1,000 origami crates. It had these little notes hanging from them. I basically had a solo show in a pub, which was actually awesome. I kind of feel like I should do that again now. And that is really when I caught the installation bug. I was I want to do more of this. So then I was right, what can I do next? I did what any girl would do. I built an installation to propose to my boyfriend. Did I propose to my boyfriend just so I could build my art portfolio? No, that wasn't the only reason. This is what I mean, people. You gotta use what you got. Then I was like, I want to do something bigger. The architecture practice that I was working for did a call out for ideas for London Design Festival. So I went to the director and I pitched for them to collaborate with me as an artist, not like me just working for them, like Practice, Levitt Bernstein and me. Fantastically, they said yes, and I worked on creating a project called City of Stories with my main girl, Zora Chieb, my fellow half Moroccan babe, and we created this large-scale installation, which was kind of my first real like public art piece. It was City of Stories where things just felt like it fell into place for me, and I thought two things. Number one, I think this is what I want to do with my life, and number two, I think I'm good at it. And so that was really the moment when I actually started thinking, like, can I make this a career? Step 3, 4 and 5 kind of all go together, but I'll go through them one at a time. Step 3, reinvent yourself. Up to now, I was working full-time as an architect, and I didn't talk much about this stuff that I did out of work. I felt a bit embarrassed about it, if I'm completely honest. I worked under a name called A Labour of Love. Like, I didn't even put my name on my artwork. I was too embarrassed. I absolutely did not tell anyone that I was an artist. I thought that made me sound like a total but I knew if this is something that I wanted to do as a career, I had to get over that. I quit my job, I moved country, and I shaved all my hair off. Pretty much as soon as I landed, I just started calling myself an artist. Just like that, poof, I'm an artist. That's it. All you need to do is say it, and then you are. There's no qualification, there's no gatekeepers to the word artist. You can literally just do it now. Try it. Just next time you're at a party, just tell someone you're an artist. What are they gonna do? For me, it was kind of like, you know, when you move school, or even when you just get a new job and you're just like, I can be anyone I want to be. Like, these people don't know me. And it just gave me the confidence to step into this sort of new chapter of my life. Step 3, get a different job. When I arrived in Vancouver, I gave myself one rule. I can do any work, but it cannot be architecture. I felt like being an architect and working in an architecture practice constrained me too much. It took up too much of my creative energy, and it also took too much of my time. So instead, I looked for a completely different job. I wanted to be able to clock in and clock out. I wanted it to be something that supported my art career, but wasn't directly creative. The job I ended up getting was a community manager in a makerspace. So it was mostly a managerial role where I got to meet lots of people. But what I got in exchange was not only the ability to make new friends in a new country, which is very handy, but also I got to train for free on all the tools and got free membership to the makerspace, which suddenly meant that my ability to build installations had suddenly like leveled up. And that made all the difference for me building a portfolio in Vancouver. Step number 4 is to find broke friends. Now, this is because if you are transitioning your career in your 30s, like I did, I think when I left architecture, I was on about 36k, and the new job that I got was like just above minimum wage, which is quite a lifestyle change. Before I made this decision, I was hanging out with friends who were also climbing the career ladder. We were going out for cocktails and buying rounds and going out for dinner and going on abroad hen-dos. And all of a sudden I was like, I cannot afford to do any of this stuff. And I was talking to my friend about it, who is an actor, and she said, oh, you need broke friends. And I was like, I do need broke friends. Why are none of my friends broke? So when I made new friends in Vancouver, I just tried my best to make friends with people who were pursuing similar things to me, and it means that they were in a similar position to me. So there was not once where I felt like I was being left out or felt like I was depriving myself of any kind of like social situation because I was broke, because we were all broke, and I had an absolute brilliant time. As a side note, by the time I came back to the UK, it was like baby fever time and all my friends were having babies. So if you don't want to find new broke friends, I would say just like wait till about 33 and you'll literally have no social life and you won't have to worry about it. Step 5. Is this a step or is this a tip? Anyway, point is, don't cut your nose off to spite your face. And this kind of lesson came to me when I moved back to the UK. I was like, right, full-time artist, let's go. But the thing is that even though I'd done quite well considering how little time I was in Vancouver, I think sometimes when you're a Londoner, you can kind of forget that London is actually one of the largest cultural hubs of the world, you know, and competition was fierce here. I felt like I had gone from being a small fish in a small pond in Vancouver to being a small fish in a giant ocean surrounded by art sharks. It was just so hard to get work. And one day, I was actually doing an open studios where the public comes round everyone's studios. And this guy walked in and started asking me about my work and I explained everything to him and he spotted that I had SketchUp on my computer, so he started asking me about that and I explained to him that I was an architect. We got on like a house on fire and he offered me a job as an architect on the spot. And I was like, what? No, I'm an artist. And he said, look, just think about it. We need help part-time. You can make some money. I had this thing in my head, like that was my rule. I will not be an architect. I will not be an architect. But I had to be realistic with myself. It was going to be really hard to build a client list in London like I had done in Vancouver. So I took the job on some very strict conditions. Number 1, I would only work 2 days a week. Number 2, I would not do any overtime. And number 3, they would understand that artwork is my priority. And if I needed to ever not work, then I could just let them know. They're a small practice who didn't have enough work on to justify hiring a project architect full-time. I was an artist who had the skill set that they needed but didn't want to work full-time. It was a perfect combination and I worked for them for about 2 years. Step 6. Save, 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 save your money. Now, some people don't agree with this, but I am a very financially cautious person. And some people said to me,
I just quit my job when I had like nothing in the bank and that made me hustle and that made me make money.
That terrifies me. I am not the kind of person who is like incentivized by that. That just like makes me so incredibly anxious. So instead I focus on saving a cushion for myself. And I did this for a long time and I saved up quite a lot. I actually saved up enough to pay my bills for 1 whole year. And I realise that for some people that might sound a bit extreme, but it's what I needed to do to feel confident enough to do the last step. Step 7 is to take the leap. For me, that was April 2021. I had saved up this cushion, which meant I knew I had money in the bank if things didn't work out. I also had signed 2 significant contracts, which meant that I knew I had some money coming in later on in the year. And that kind of brings us to today. And that's how I did it. I kind of started on this journey in 2014 and now it's 2022. I'm sure there are much more efficient ways, but that's just like an honest account of how I did it. Probably one of the most important bits of advice that I've ever heard is that it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. And I think about that all the time. My plan is to slowly and steadily build a sustainable art career for myself. And I'm in this for the long haul. If you're thinking about changing career, or maybe you've just had a child and you've taken 2 years out, there's no rush, babes. We got time. When are we gonna retire? Like when we're 70? What's the rush? Why are we so obsessed with being so successful so young. I hope you have enjoyed today's video, and let me know in the comments anything else you'd like me to talk about, and I'll see you next week. Peace.